Why can you erase pencil writing? Hi, welcome to Curious Kids Every Day. I'm Josh. How are you doing today? It's so good to hear from you. Hey, do you know the difference between a pencil and a pen? Well, there are a few differences, I guess. But when you want to write something or draw something, what's the main reason you would choose a pencil instead of a pen? Right, because you can erase the things you draw with a pencil. A pen stays on the paper. But you can remove pencil writing with something called... What's it called? Yep, an eraser. An eraser is usually a piece of rubber that you rub on the paper. And then all your hard work is suddenly gone, just like that. Sometimes an eraser is its own piece, and sometimes it's at the end of the pencil. But wherever it is, it's there to erase the things you write. But how does it do it? Why does a little piece of eraser remove pencil writing? Let's learn about it today. When you write with a pencil, you're not putting ink on the paper like you do with a pen. Instead, you're actually rubbing tiny bits of a special material called graphite onto the surface of the paper. Can you say graphite? Graphite is a soft, gray, slippery kind of mineral made from carbon. Unlike ink, graphite doesn't soak into the paper. It just sits right on top of it, clinging lightly to the tiny bumps and fibers of the paper's surface. It's kind of like if you dropped a piece of paper onto the grass. Does the paper soak into the dirt under the grass, or does it kind of just sit on top of the grass blades? Right, it sits on top. That's how graphite works with paper. Except, in my example, the grass is the paper, and the paper is the graphite. Maybe I actually just made that more confusing. Anyway, the point is, when you write, your pencil leaves a little trail of graphite flakes behind. That's what you see as your letters or drawings. And that's why eventually you have to sharpen your pencil again, because every time you use that pencil, graphite is getting put on the paper, and, graphite isn't going to last forever on that pencil. There's a finite amount of it on the pencil. Now here's where the eraser comes in. Erasers are usually made of soft, flexible rubber, or a similar material called vinyl. When you rub an eraser across your writing, a few things happen at once. First, the rubber grips the graphite better than the paper does. As you rub, the friction between the paper and the eraser creates a little bit of heat. Not enough to burn, but enough to make the rubber slightly sticky. That stickiness helps the eraser grab the tiny graphite flakes and lift them off the paper. At the same time, the rubbing motion also removes a tiny layer of the paper surface. That's why if you erase too hard, you might tear the paper or make a hole. When the eraser collects graphite and paper fibers, you might notice those little rolled up crumbs that fall off. Those are bits of rubber mixed with graphite and paper dust. So the real secret is friction and adhesion, or stickiness. Friction makes heat, and the sticky eraser material grabs the graphite particles, lifting them away. The next time you erase something, take a look at your eraser. you'll probably see some gray smudges left behind. That's the graphite your eraser picked up. So why can you erase pencil marks but not pen marks? Well, because pen marks seep into the paper fibers and stain them. Once the color is absorbed, rubbing can't pull it out. Pencil marks, on the other hand, just sit on top like a piece of paper on grass blades. And that's why a soft piece of rubber can just make them disappear. So now when you want to draw something, you can decide if you want it to be permanent on the page or if you want to be able to erase it. Now you know why pencils work the way they do. A little bit of graphite, a little bit of heat, and a little bit of stickiness, and you've got the ingredients you need to create a drawing that you can erase. Did you know that before rubber erasers were invented, people actually used bread to erase pencil marks? A little piece of soft, damp bread could lift graphite almost as well as an eraser. It just made more crumbs. Now, I'm wondering how someone figured that out in the first place. Oh, I need to erase this. Anybody got something? Here, give me that bread. Oh, it worked! I can't believe it worked! Hey, I was gonna eat that. Okay, let's see how much you remember about erasers. What's the soft gray stuff inside pencils called? It's called graphite. What's the main reason you can erase pencil marks but not pen marks? Pencil marks sit on top of the paper, but pen ink soaks in. What two forces help an eraser lift up the graphite off the paper? Friction and adhesion, or stickiness. And what happens if you erase too hard? Yeah, you can tear the paper. Be careful. Let's play true or false. True or false? Erasers work by melting the graphite off the page. That is false. They grab it off using friction and stickiness. True or false? Pen ink stays on the surface of paper the way that graphite does. False. It soaks into the paper, which is why it can't be erased easily. Would you rather have a pencil that never needed sharpening or an eraser that never wore out? I would love to have a pencil that I never had to sharpen. An eraser that I never had to replace, that sounds good too. But never having to sharpen a pencil, man, that's almost as good as having a pen. Okay, let's play a couple of rounds of What Am I? What am I? I live on a pencil. I can make your drawings disappear. And I'm usually made of rubber. What am I? Yep, it's an eraser. Okay, that one was pretty easy. We've been talking a lot about erasers. Here's one more. What am I? I'm flat. I'm usually white. And I'm made from trees. What am I? Yep, it's paper. All right, I'm going to name a few things. You tell me if these are things that you can erase with a regular pencil eraser, okay? Here we go. Pencil writing on a paper. Can you erase that with a regular eraser? Yep, you sure can. What about pen ink on paper? Nope, ink soaks into the paper. You cannot erase it. What about colored pencil marks? Sometimes, but not perfectly, because colored pencils use wax, and wax makes it harder to erase. What about crayon drawings? Nope, they're too waxy. You know, we should do an episode where we learn about how crayons are made. That would be really interesting. What about chalk on a chalkboard? Can you use a regular pencil eraser to erase chalk on a chalkboard? Nope, there's a special eraser that you use for chalk. Well, now we know why erasers can make pencil marks disappear. You're not really erasing your writing into thin air, you're just picking it up and moving it to your eraser instead. Speaking of episodes we should do sometime, we should do one about how pencils are made. Now that is an interesting story. What kind of question do you think we'll ask tomorrow on Curious Kids Every Day? I can't wait to find out, so until then, keep asking questions and stay curious, kids. And for all the grown-ups listening, please visit CuriousKidsEveryday.com to get a free printable with activity ideas that don't involve screens. Those are the best kinds of adventures to have. Oh, and don't forget that the Curious Kids Club launches in just a few more days on November 1st. Go to supportcuriouskids.com for more information. See you tomorrow.